Life in football is never a straight road. It is a journey of highs and lows, victories and heartbreaks, respect and criticism. Few stories embody this better than that of Gernot Rohr, the Franco-German coach who once stood at the helm of Nigeria's Super Eagles, only to be dismissed in a cloud of doubt and criticism when Rohr was sacked in December 2021. Just weeks before the Africa Cup of Nations, many thought his chapter in African football had closed. Critics called him tactically limited, too conservative and uninspiring. The Nigerian football community demanded change, hoping for a coach who could deliver attacking flair and trophies. But as fate would have it, Rohr's dismissal was not the end of his story. It was the beginning of a new chapter. Today, the same man once rejected by Africa's most populous football nation is now on the brink of leading Benin Republic, the Squirrels, to their first ever FIFA World Cup. This is not just a football story. It is a story of resilience, humility, perseverance, and redemption. When Rohr was appointed Nigeria's coach in 2016, the Super Eagles were in chaos. They had failed to qualify for 2 consecutive AFCON tournaments. The mood in the camp was low, the confidence of the fans was gone, and the team looked like a shadow of its glorious past. Rohr came in quietly without drama. He did not arrive with the arrogance of a European coach, trying to dictate his philosophy. Instead, he embraced Nigeria's culture, gave young players opportunities, and built a new foundation. Under his watch, Nigeria qualified for the 2018 FIFA World Cup with games to spare. He introduced young stars like Wilfred Ndidi, Alex Iwobi, Samuel Chukwueze, Ola Aina, and Victor Osimhen into the national team. Nigeria reached the AFCON 2019 semifinals, winning bronze in Egypt. For 5 years, Rohr gave Nigeria stability and belief, but critics wanted more. They accused him of lacking ambition, of being too defensive, and of not being able to take Nigeria to the next level. In 2021, just before AFCON, he was sacked. For Rohr, the sacking hurt deeply. He had poured his heart into the Super Eagles project, investing his time in scouting, nurturing, and building a new generation. To be discarded just before a major tournament was like being told, "You are not good enough." The Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, moved on quickly, but Rohr was left behind, with critics labeling him a failure. Yet Rohr never fired back. He never insulted Nigeria. He never boasted about his record. Instead, he remained calm and respectful, saying only, "I gave Nigeria my best. I will always respect this country." That humility would later become the seed for his redemption. In 2023, when Benin Republic came calling, Rohr accepted the job with quiet determination. To many, it looked like a step down. Benin was a small footballing nation, overshadowed by neighbors like Nigeria, Ghana, and Ivory Coast. They had never qualified for the World Cup, and their resources were limited. But for Rohr, this was not a step down. It was an opportunity. He saw in Benin what he once saw in Nigeria: potential. He began working with local players, instilling discipline, structure, and belief. Slowly, the results came. The Squirrels started to play with courage, fighting against bigger teams. And then the turning point came: a victory over Nigeria. For Rohr, beating his former employers was not just about football. It was personal. It was the sweetest form of redemption. Today, Benin stands on the brink of history. Under Rohr's leadership, they are chasing qualification for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. A nation that was once dismissed as minnows is now dreaming big. What has Rohr done differently? 1. Belief. He has made the players believe they can stand toe-to-toe with giants. 2. Discipline. His teams may not always play flashy football, but they are organized, disciplined, and difficult to beat. 3. Patience. Rohr understands African football. He does not force European systems blindly. Instead, he adapts to the strengths of his players. 4. Youth development. Just as he did with Nigeria, he is introducing young players who are hungry and fearless. Rohr has turned Benin into giant killers, proving that in football, it is not the size of the country that matters, but the size of the dream. Gernot Rohr's story carries powerful lessons, not just for football, but for life. Rejection is not the end. Nigeria rejected him, but today he is on the brink of a greater achievement. Sometimes rejection is simply redirection. Stay humble. Rohr never insulted Nigeria despite the way he was treated. His humility kept doors open for his future. Build, don't complain. Instead of lamenting about Benin's limitations, he built a system that worked with what he had. Success is the best revenge. Rohr did not seek revenge with words, he did it with results. Dreams have no boundaries. Who would have believed Benin could dream of the World Cup? But Rohr dared to believe. Perhaps the most dramatic part of this story is the irony. Nigeria is struggling in the World Cup qualifiers, while rowers Benin is thriving. The man Nigeria once discarded is now in pole position to succeed where Nigeria is failing. For Nigerian fans, this is a bitter pill to swallow. For Rohr, it is destiny proving that his work was never in vain. If Benin makes it to the World Cup, Gernot Rohr's name will forever be written in the history of African football. He will not just be remembered as Nigeria's former coach. He will be celebrated as the man who gave Benin their biggest footballing miracle. This is not just a story about football. It is a story about life, resilience, and second chances. Gernot Rohr reminds us that sometimes the stone the builders reject becomes the cornerstone of history.